Hi everyone, my name is John Johansson, and I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you about a book I recently wrote called A Glory-Filled Future, Understanding End-Time Events and the Marriage Connection. Now before you turn me off, this is not a book about your marriage. It's not a book about the marriage you hope to have in the future, and it's definitely not a book on how to salvage a marriage that's crashing down around you. When the Bible talks about the relationship between Jesus and his followers, the church, it is sometimes referred to as a marriage relationship. To better understand that, we need to look through the eyes of Jesus and through the eyes of the apostles that spoke of it as to what were they looking at? What were they referring to as a point of reference in our relationship to Jesus? And that brings us to the ancient Jewish wedding customs. When we look at the ancient Jewish wedding customs, which is made up of several steps, it's not just you decide to get married, you get together on such and such date, and you say your I do's, and now you're married. There's a process, a lengthy process involved in that relationship. So when we look at our relationship to Christ in light of the ancient Jewish wedding customs, not only do we see where we are in that process scripturally, but we also see the connection to biblically prophesied end-time events that have yet to happen. There's a lot of things prophesied for the last days. We could talk about the Battle of Armageddon. We could talk about the Antichrist, the mark, the beast, the judgments, and all sorts of different things. But in the midst of all those end-time events, there are some that are specific to the marriage process between Jesus and his followers. And in this book, I go into that. I identify what those end-time events are, how that relates to our relationship with Christ, and whether or not there's scriptural support for that. And it's an exciting thing, and it shows us a path to the glory that's waiting for us in heaven, eternity with Jesus, that's far greater, far grander than anything that the world could ever hope, dream, or imagine. So in this book, I go over that process of that marriage process between a man and a woman getting married to become a husband and wife. And so I encourage you to get this book. I've had several people tell me that after reading the book, they now have a better understanding as to what it means to be the bride of Christ. I've had several people tell me that it's illuminated things to them. Scripture references that they weren't sure about became crystal clear. I've had people that have read the book that have turned around and bought additional copies to give to friends and family throughout the country. This book, I believe, will help you understand not only our relationship with Christ, where we are in that process, and the end-time events that are directly associated with that very process, and what joy, what excitement there is in knowing that, and that we can be a part of that. You can get this book at, I'll put up a little picture for you again. You can get it at Amazon or any of your favorite online retailers, or even at most local bookstores. So get your copy today, A Glory-Filled Future. And I hope it blesses you. Bye.